だけどそれ以上にこう育っていって環境がそうさせてしまう。だから今は受け入れられるべきわけじゃないんです。
すぐ新選組を離れて療養した方がいい。空気のきれいな場所でゆっくりと。
新選組を離れる、それはできません。
just a legend. Just a story. A story to scare little kids. But
This meeting is being recorded.
Yo.
Hello.
Hey,
What's up?
how goes it?
It's fine, I guess.
Like the shirt there, Bowie, Sriracha.
Thanks. Is our host here? Oh, he is here. Wait, are you playing music?
On the stream, I think he is, unless he doesn't realize it. It's like
Nice.
lo-fi hip-hop beats to chill and relax to.
Yeah, I like it. I'm like, wait a second, is this my music or is this his music? Oh, I gotta mute the audio here on the stream. Are you ready, Gavin?
Am I ready? I
You
guess
ready
I'm
for
ready.
interview?
I guess we're ready
It's
now.
your
It's
tiny
Oh.
shine.
question.
Oh man.
Gavin's going first.
So
No, I'm just asking if he's ready.
Yo, Gavin. Gavin, what are you
Yeah.
wearing, man?
Dude,
What's that
I'm
button?
double dipping right now. I had
Alright,
to. I
I'll
had
be
to.
right
I got the
back.
shirt. And I got the hacker hoodie going.
If you're going for it, guess we have
Fully
to.
branded. but
All right.
yeah,
Wait, what's wrong with my mic?
No idea.
I can hear you. What?
Yeah.
You sound fine to me.
You can. Yeah, we can hear you.
Great, we're back. There we
Let's
go.
go. Let's go.
Why
I
are
gotta
people
sit
asking
up
me
so I
questions?
just go like.
Okay. So, I guess, let's see, how many people do we have online?
I just realized this is being recorded, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess, we're gonna get started now. Second episode of the podcast. I'm calling it the LugCast, tentatively.
Hey Zeph, and I feel like I should know what your flag is behind you. What is it?
No, I don't think you should know. It's the flag
Okay.
of Phoenix.
Oh, okay. That's see, it looks like a phoenix. That was honestly a guess of mine, but not the city Phoenix. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking something else. I almost thought it was a Star Wars flag for a second.
That'd be a pretty good guess. I could see that one.
I guess Arizona's a little bit like Tatooine.
Yeah.
Only one sun though.
Yeah,
not
only
live,
one
are we?
sun, so not quite.
We
as
are
hot.
live right now. But, can I up this?
Oh, we are.
We're
live.
live. We're not.
Yeah, we
We're not
are.
live,
We're on
right?
Twitch.
Oh, we're live. I joined
we're
because
live.
he pinged that channel.
I did ping at channel.
Oh,
We're live
sorry,
right
okay.
now.
Oh,
People
it's
can- we
it's
should-
Mike's headphones.
People can
We've
feel
actually
it.
your mic,
been
Booty.
live.
It's up. Mike's mic is not. I can't hear him unless he's
My mic
muted.
isn't that loud.
Then we should get started soon.
We should probably start. Let me.
Yeah, Mike, I see your lips moving. I cannot hear you.
Alright, does that sound any better? Properties.
It's so strange
can
seeing
you
myself
flash?
in the
Can you flash that water bottle again for us?
Oh,
Sam?
just a little thirsty.
Oh, that's why that wasn't working.
Yeah,
Alright, you should be able to hear me now just fine.
Yeah, we can.
I had
hear
it.
you.
I had it on the wrong
crystal
microphone.
clear.
Last time you were a bit quiet on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm trying to up the gain some.
It's a nice game. Hey, nice flag.
Oh, thanks, dude.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds much better.
Let's get started. AKK.
Yeah, let's. So I was trying to start earlier. Second episode of the LugCast. You already know the
Is
host.
that our name?
That's what
Is
I'm
that our
calling it tentatively. Do you have a better name?
No, I don't. I'm just asking.
Shut up, Joshi. Joshi's commenting in chat. Okay, let me try to mess with this. Bowie, you do it. I'm trying to fix the audio. Okay, I guess I'll do it too. Yeah, you already know the hosts. Me, Bowie, and Zephin.
I'm sorry. I'm Peanuts Haxer. I'm
Peanuts
not Bowie.
Haxer. Well. So. Yeah. Someone else talk.
All right. So I guess.
Should we just get started?
Yeah. So let's just do some catch up real quick. So Zephin, what have you been up to?
I have been discovering the magic that is high performance SSH. So I do a lot of SFTP to my server back at home, and SFTP sucks in terms of file transfer speeds.
You should use.
Wait,
what
what are you transferring back and forth to your house?
Oh, these things and those things, nothing illegal or anything like that. I could use rsync, true. So there's this thing called high performance SSH, and basically the way it speeds up your SSH is it changes the buffer size to be variable. So if you're saying a long continuous file, it does it in one huge chunk instead of having to do like split up the file into lots of tiny chunks and then run a cipher on each one of them. And I think there's a couple other improvements, like it makes the default SSH cipher multi-core instead of single core. So
do
overall,
you have actual numbers to back this up?
I do. So I linked this. I linked this on the
The doc. I'm putting it on screen.
Thank you very much.
Do you have to change your SSH daemon for this?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Well, the daemon itself is the same. The way this installs is just a patch on the official OpenSSH install. So
it's like another package, right? It's like another implementation.
yeah, but it literally just patches OpenSSH. So the way you install it legit is you install OpenSSH and then you just like modify some of the files in it. So yeah, you can see the performance numbers that Mike had up. It's much faster, probably like multiple, maybe 10x or something like that.
So you have to change both the client and the server.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how did you install this?
I don't want to trigger you, Professor Bowie, but I use the Arch user repository for which there is a Git fork on it.
Bring this back. All right.
Exactly.
All right.
That's why I hadn't mentioned it yet. You know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to know. All right, AKK, what have you been up to, man?
Schoolwork. But aside from that,
big congrats on finishing your OS project.
I know, dude. I'm pretty excited about that. Aside from what I've
we're all shocked, to be honest. We're all shocked.
For what I've really been doing, not much. I've just been screwing around, basically. There's nothing intelligent I've been doing.
You got dashboard updates or anything like that?
The dashboard now has an advertisement.
Yeah, can you bring up the dashboard? I believe there's a new enhancement.
There is a new enhancement. There's this screen that you have to now click through to get to the actual numbers.
Wait, is this allowed? Can we just advertise like this?
I build them, so
yeah, it's legal. Me and Iman like read through the rules from the Constitution, and we sent out a receipt. You can show them the receipt. It was pretty official. We sent an invoice.
Is this your official logo? Wait, Everybody eats. Is that like
everybody eats? Let me see. Do I have the receipt?
I think it's in Discord.
Yeah, I think it was in Discord.
Oh, dude, Foot Chicken's calling you guys sellouts, man.
It's not a sellout. Let me see it.
Dude, it's not a sellout. We're using our campaign funds wisely.
It makes sense.
All right.
What better place to advertise than the hotly used dash.nd.lol?
Yeah, it works well. There's a nice advertisement there.
So, couple of days ago, I transitioned my wife's computer. So she had like an Intel NUC. It had an i3. It's about 6 years old now. And I replaced it with my old workstation, so old Xavier, which is a Dell Optiplex. It has an i7 processor. And then the big thing about that is before I was storing all my data on external USB drives. Now it's an internal drive. And then because it's an i7 and it's not like a embedded type device, it's not throttled. And so I can actually rip on Handbrake about 200 to 300 FPS now, which is really nice for when I'm archiving Miyazaki films from Studio Ghibli. So that's what I've been up to. I also today wrote a little program that scrapes the dashboard. Shout out to Bill. Bill told me to use this program called Tesseract. So I'm actually using it to do OCR scanning of the image that Tableau generates for the dashboard, and I'm pulling the numbers out of there. And now there's an RSS feed. So now Bobbit will spam various channels about any updates we get to the dashboard. So
aren't the numbers like available?
I hate machine learning, but
they're not available anymore as a thing. They took that.
It's a public Tableau dashboard. Like, shouldn't the numbers be able to like be gotten?
You would hope, but
you would think, but it's not.
Oh wow,
it's not straightforward.
Yeah,
it's not straightforward.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next segment. Let's talk about technology open source news.
Okay.
So the first article I don't really care about, but I think AKK you might care about.
I mean, yeah. So basically, let me try to get a better workflow.
Let's bring this up. I wrote the Facebooking of Oculus. So
yeah.
In the chat, who here uses VR? Anyone here use VR? Anyone here use Facebook?
I would.
Better question.
I think most people unfortunately use Facebook.
I don't have a Facebook.
You do though. You have a ghost profile.
Okay, then everybody in the world has one.
Yeah, so
I'm not a boomer. I'm not a boomer. There you go.
I use Face. Yeah, so basically what happened was, let's see, you guys still have to do this. So I use Oculus for my VR setup. But apparently Facebook is now requiring you to log into a Facebook account to use Oculus, which I have not had. Do you have to register it with them? I haven't read the article yet. But, I mean, it seems like fear-mongering from people who are spreading the article. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Well, I mean, the thing is that when Oculus sold out to Facebook, one of the things they promised was that it would never require a Facebook login. This is clearly counter to that.
They said that?
And they weren't even acquired that long ago. That was also,
Oh.
Out,
So if you don't log into your Facebook account before, it looks like January 1st of 2023, then you'll have an issue. So I guess you have, 2 years or so to play your VR without Facebook. It doesn't affect me too much. I guess that's I have a Facebook account, unfortunately, and I'm not going to object to it, but... the audio is not working on my end. Let me select a headphones. Hello?
Stefan, did you celebrate?
Yes. Did I celebrate Debian's 27th birthday?
Yeah.
No. I'll be honest, I didn't even know it was coming up. Although I'm belatedly celebrating it now, I guess.
Yeah, Debian...
How about you, Mike?
Sorry, the audio cut out because I did a driver update.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would you do a driver update in the middle of a stream?
Well, it's no longer. It's done, so problem solved.
Oh man, I agree with Athletic Vegetable here. That's a bold move. I mean, I didn't celebrate either, but I don't use Debian. But like a lot of the distros that you probably do use are based on Debian, like for instance Ubuntu. So
I actually use Arch.
Okay.
Okay, Beast. Okay, Beast.
But yeah,
did you really slide in the by the way? You should really slide in the by the way. All right. Speaking of Debian, so Raspberry Pi OS, which is officially called, was called Raspbian, was based on Debian.
Oh, it's not
now
called
they're
Raspbian
trying to
anymore?
rebrand it as Raspberry Pi OS.
That's kind of dumb.
They have now switched to the Linux 5.4 long-term stable kernel. Before they are at 4.19 or 4.19. And then, so the interesting thing about this is I as the maintainer of the Raspberry Pi kernel on Void Linux, have also made the switch. There's currently a PR out there where I'm getting some testing and feedback from the users, meaning 2 other people. But once they give me the feedback, it will be merged, and then Void Linux will also be on 5.4 for the Linux kernel. So I'm proud of my work on that PR.
What do you have to do for that?
You just honestly change some numbers, change the hash, and that's pretty much it.
I figured that's what you had to do, but I don't know if you have to...
No, the transition from 4.4 to 4.9 to 4.19 was more difficult, but this one was actually really easy. They made it pretty straightforward.
That's good.
The only thing is that they changed the name of the audio mixer. So instead of master, it's now called headphone, which is really annoying. So I had to change a bunch of configs on all my Raspberry Pis, but whatever.
Interesting.
All right, let's skip number 4. Let's go straight to number 5 here. Last news item before we talk to our excellent guest. Mozilla Firefox 80 is now available, and it includes the video acceleration that we were lamenting was missing
Yeah.
last time.
Only
So
if
who
you
here
use...
is going to go out and download Firefox?
Well, you
Probably
have to
because
use
they saw our
Firefox.
podcast.
You have to use Firefox Dev. That's the issue.
Anyone
or-
here going to use Firefox now?
No.
Zeph, you still use it, right?
Actually, after our last podcast and me realizing that they killed the dev team, I actually switched off. Literally
What'd
within
you
this
switch
last
to?
week. Yeah,
What'd you switch to?
I'm on Chromium.
Have you considered Brave?
Yes, but I mean,
What about
I'm fine.
Vivaldi?
I
hear that's
have
a
not
pretty good-
considered Vivaldi, no.
Well,
And I don't think that Firefox having
Thunderbird is
Finally
not
having-
a web browser foot chicken.
Thunderbird is
client.
unfortunately it's a pretty bad mail client if you ask me. But
Wait, Nolan said he switched back to Chrome last week. Nolan, why'd you switch? Wait, Opera is for gamers.
oh,
There's a
Opera does
gamer
have a
Opera.
gaming browser. Yeah.
Is it like optimized for gaming or something?
it's
No, it just has like RAM limits and CPU limits you can turn on.
it's like actually useful features, but it's unfortunately branded as gaming.
And it looks just awful.
Yeah, it's got legitimately good features, but
And it's also got sound effects whenever you hover over anything.
oh my god.
Oh my lord! All right.
Because no one
Let's
seems to
go
use
to our
Firefox
main.
anymore.
Let's go to
Yeah.
the main feature for tonight. So today's main focus is on internships. So we have three excellent guests. We have Gavin Inglis. He interned this summer at Amazon, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. This
we
past
have
summer.
Sam
I was at
Battaglio.
Amazon.
And he interned this summer at, was it Pure Storage? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then we have Emery Smith. And Emery, I totally forgot what you did.
I was an intern for the Center for Civic Innovation.
All right, so these are all seniors. You may have seen them before as your TAs. So what we're trying to do here today is simply talk to them about their intern experience and what they learned and any advice they have for any of our juniors or sophomores or even seniors in terms of what to look forward to. Okay, so let's start off with, let's go ahead with Emery. Let's do ladies first here. Or is that offensive? Can I say that?
No.
Emery's like, whatever.
You're canceled, Dewey.
So Emery, can you just introduce yourself for those that don't know you, and then explain your relationship to Lug?
Yeah, so I'm Emery Smith, and I'm a senior computer engineer. I'm from South Bend, and I live off campus. I got introduced to Lug by Logan, who was the president last year, 2 years ago, last year. Anyway, he was my favorite systems TA, and he always encouraged the people that were at his office hours to come to Lug. So that's what I did.
Would you recommend people to come to Lug?
If we had physical meetings.
The hesitation.
Oh.
The hesitation.
Oh. What a rave review.
I would. Yeah.
It's okay. No pressure. We'll pay you later in flex points.
No, I'm not allowed on campus. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
My bad. So Emery, I think the reason why we invited you, because I think you probably have the most unique experience out of everybody. Can you tell us what your position was like?
Sure. So the Center for Civic Innovation is attached to Notre Dame. It's headed by Jay Brockman, who some of you guys might have had for logic design. He's the director. He was actually the mentor for one of my projects. So the way that the internship for the Center for Civic Innovation works is they have a Elkhart cohort and a South Bend cohort. And there are, I think there was 6 teams in our Elkhart cohort, and then there's a lot more in the South Bend cohort. And they have teams that are made up of high school and college students, ranging in age from juniors in high school to seniors in college and beyond. I think we had one person that was actually a graduate. And so there's normally 3 to 4 people on a team, and you work on a civic innovation project. A civic innovation project is geared towards doing something for the community, but it involves new technologies. So I was on two projects during my internship, but we can talk about that later.
Okay, all right. So a very different feel. So was this sort of like a nonprofit type thing, would you say, or?
Yeah, yeah, they're a nonprofit.
All right. Now, most people though are, they want to flex on their classmates and they want to go to a FANG or a MUFANG. I don't know what the acronyms are anymore, right? When we say FANG, that doesn't include Microsoft, but they're obviously a big tech company. So what do you say?
I don't
What's
know.
the acronym?
FANG.
They're the unspoken giant.
The
You say
silent
FANG and everyone
M.
gets
All right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
so Gavin, you are our representative who went to a FANG. Can you tell us
Yeah.
what your job was like at? Well, first of all, what's your relationship to Lug? How'd you get involved, and then a little bit about your position.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Gavin, senior CS major, current vice president of Lug. I've been a member since sophomore year. So
Would
this
you
past
recommend
summer,
people come to Lug?
I definitely do. I know I didn't hesitate as much as Emory, and I can understand people's hesitations to go because there is a bit of a reputation around Lug. But I would recommend anyone to come. It's definitely, while it may not seem as the most like open and inclusive club on the outside, I can assure you that if you do come to meetings when we eventually, hopefully have them in person, you will be welcomed with open arms. So, but yeah, so this past summer working for Amazon, I was based out of Austin virtually, working on one of the most corporate software engineering teams you could probably think of. So customer support was our realm. We worked on, the official name for the org is Device, Digital, and Consumer Services. And my team specifically builds a web application for these people called content developers to write troubleshooting workflows that are going to be used by like on-call people, tech support people, to help you troubleshoot your devices like your Alexa. So we like manage and maintain that whole thing. And we had these things called entities. A workflow is an entity. And my whole project was to kind of from scratch build like a reporting engine. Our clients would often ask for reports to be run on these workflows, kind of like, oh, does this workflow lead to this workflow, where and when? And so I was tasked with building that out. So
this sounds very much like a corporate clone type position.
Yeah, I would say the work was definitely corporate clone-esque. Very much so. Which
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But someone who is definitely not a corporate clone is Sam. So Sam, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a senior off campus. I'm from Granger, Indiana, so I've been around here for a while. And my relation to Lug. So I got into Lug during systems programming my sophomore year, and just started showing up to the club meetings, and I thought they were pretty cool. So I stuck around, and so then from there I really got to know everybody in the club, and it was super helpful in like getting me to try out new things, or like I'd have used like Ubuntu in the past for like either like working on stuff or like on a Raspberry Pi, but like going from there to like geeking out on like Arch or like doing some other stuff was a different step from there. So now I'm the treasurer this year. So time will tell what that actually means. If we can't actually have any in-person meetings, I might not really do anything. But
just push the money around.
I am the treasurer. Yeah. We do have money, and people should be paying their dues, maybe. So,
well,
we'll
tell
talk
us about this company, Pure Storage. Why would you?
Oh, sure.
Why is it not a corporate clone job?
Well, it's funny because it kind of is. That was just on the application. There was just a little line that says corporate clones shouldn't apply because, like, I mean, every company thinks that they're different. But I think what actually does make the company I worked at a bit different was they still very much had a big startup culture because they were in stealth starting in like 2012, or I might be butchering this, 2009. And so they're about 10 years old now. And it's a company that went from like a small stealth startup to like $1 billion revenue sort of thing. But it's funny because kind of like Gavin, the company, the work itself is pretty corporate. Like it gets about as corporate cloney as you can think. I mean, it's business to business enterprise storage. So I mean, everybody thinks like the sexy stuff is sort of like consumer facing, like apps or like stuff like that.
Like Sam, let me stop you. Like, let's talk about this because I think a lot of people, particularly younger students, right? They're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to be a developer. I'm gonna be like, you know, slamming Mountain Dew and just pounding code, and like I can build this awesome apps that everyone's gonna use. But like, what I'm hearing from you and Gavin is like that's not the reality of the profession. Like, can you sort of talk about like in doing these internships, what did you learn about what does it mean to be like a software engineer? Like any of you, can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I worked with closely with the SRE team, so site reliability engineering. So I mean, at least from my experience this summer, it was very much just I was given a project with a partner, and I was integrated in a team. And besides like daily stand-up meetings where we just we had pretty much free reign on just take your project, go schedule your own meetings, and just go for it. I thought it was very different than what I was expecting, I guess, where I was kind of expecting sure, we did use like sprints and like tickets and Jira and like that sort of like organizational structure that like I was expecting stuff like Scrum and everything, but it was very much it was a pretty professional like office environment, but virtual, where like you schedule out meetings, you have time blocks, have daily meetings, and I mean it's a 40-hour a week job. It's not like it's not like the movies or anything like that, you know.
But did you still feel like motivated to come to work? Well, quote, come to work, like wake up, roll out of bed,
definitely.
and like what motivated you, even though like it wasn't like this exciting thing necessarily?
I mean, well, first off, I mean, I did find the work exciting, I guess. I thought the work was super interesting. It aligned with what I like to do. So I guess just the work itself was super interesting. So that kept me going, and continual knowledge, like continually learning things, because there was just a lot of stuff this summer that I didn't realize I didn't know about, like networking and a bunch of things that kept me going. And then also, I mean, big thing is you have 12 weeks, you have to get it done, like otherwise like doesn't look that good. So that was kind of a motivating factor too. I mean,
you gotta get that return offer, right?
Yeah.
Well, Gavin, congratulations, by the way. Gavin, you did get a return offer, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So do you want to talk about like what did you learn in terms of what's the difference between what you thought software engineering was or working at a FANG versus what you experienced? Like, was there a disconnect, or was it sort of what you assumed?
I think there definitely was a disconnect. I went in a little naive, not aware of aware of the really cool stuff that Amazon does, like with AWS, which is what I would be most interested in, versus the more mundane sounding like business tasks and requirements. So I was definitely like fingers crossed, hoping to get placed on like an AWS team, but then ended up being placed on like an internal team, which I think definitely is the main reason why my ideal dream of what an internship with Amazon wasn't quite met. But I will say, like, I guess just kind of to bounce off of what was just talked about, like what kept me motivated during the summer was Similar to what Sam said, like just learning new things and being exposed to cool tech. I'd say my team works with like really cool technologies, but just the business application of it doesn't sound so crazy. Like I got to learn things like Elasticsearch, got more experience with some AWS services. Yeah, I guess another thing too that I wasn't quite expecting was the amount of like ownership that you have as an intern with your project. I guess depends on if your internship is structured that way, but when you're an intern, at least at Amazon, and it sounds like at Pure, it's kind of like you're the owner of your project and it's your responsibility to get things going. It's not like you're jumping in on a team and helping them out with their sprint or what have you. So that part of it was actually a really good learning experience. I got to like do a whole 3-week design, like a detailed design, and pitch it to my team, and then get feedback, and then go and attempt to implement it.
So
but
it sounded like you were still growing and learning,
yeah.
even though it wasn't necessarily super. Well, wasn't what you envisioned, but
it wasn't what I envisioned, but I mean, yeah, it was definitely a great learning opportunity, just like any software engineering internship would be. So
Emery, since you had the most unique experience, could you tell us sort of, what did you learn from it in terms of what does it mean to, I guess the big question, for you was, how exactly did you apply like your CPEG knowledge or your technical background in this civic manner, right? Because I usually, people don't think of CS and like, we're gonna go help people. It's more like CS, they're gonna play video games in their basement or something. So like, could you tell us like what did you have to sort of learn to really bridge that gap and really work in the real world with other people?
Right. So this wasn't the internship that I planned on doing this summer. I was supposed to be in Uganda doing networking and providing internet to people, but that got canceled because of COVID. So I was supposed to be coding, but I actually didn't code a single line during this past summer. I think that as a senior, one of the older students on my different projects, I sort of took on a leadership role. And I think having like the engineering background really helped me guide my team through the project management process, because we had these huge undefined goals and we had to complete something in 7 weeks. And so we had to come up with a way to ask really good questions and break down like our huge task into like small portions, which is something that you learn in any engineering field, but especially in computer science. You learn to break down your like large task into very small things that you can accomplish in functions or whatever.
Wow. Well, actually, it's something I want to bring up with all of you is, so Emery, what would you say, first of all, how did you get this opportunity? And then 2, what would you say are the most relevant or useful educational experience at Notre Dame that you had that sort of help you either get this position or to be successful in it?
So I think this internship had a normal application process. However, you did have to kind of write about why you thought that you were fitted for civic work and what projects you might want to work on. So that might be a little bit different than most applications. And then the interview process, they're really trying to get to like the heart of why you want to do this work, because they really want people that are passionate, because that's really what makes a good team thrive. With little resources and not a lot of time, you really have to be passionate about the work that you're doing, which I felt from all of my colleagues this summer. So that was the interview and application process.
Well, how did you hear about it? How did you hear about it, this opportunity?
Yeah, so that, I mean, I can sort of answer that by answering the other question too, about like my educational experiences that helped me get the job and learn about it. So there is a team at Notre Dame, which is kind of associated with the Society of Women Engineers. It's called the Society of Women Engineers Tech Team. And it's a group of 12 women engineers, interdisciplinary, that come together to do civic work. And that team is mentored by someone that's been in civic innovation for his entire career, more than 25 years. He's pretty popular in this area. He served on the Board of Public Works. His name is Gary Gillot. One of my team members was in the Center for Civic Innovation internship the summer after I was on that team, and I actually went to her presentation that year. And I actually applied that year and didn't get in. But then
Oh wait, so this is a second time around sort of thing.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Sam, do you want to talk about how did you get this opportunity and what classes or what educational experiences you found useful in your work and to get that position?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, to be honest, I didn't know the Pure Storage existed before applying. I mean, there's not much way I should know because it's like B2B, but I found them on LinkedIn Jobs. I was a little personally, I was a little frustrated with the resources by the university, and I didn't. So I searched out on like LinkedIn and some other places, yeah. So I guess the process for me, there was 3 or 4 phone interviews, I think, and then
3 or
a
4?
long, yeah.
Like separate or like back to back?
Separate.
Wow.
Like
okay.
you get past one, you make it to the other sort of thing, and then huge in-person day. But largely a lot of practicing on LeetCode because I think they were pretty challenging questions, and if I were to shout out a class or something people should study before trying to interview for companies like this, especially companies that deal heavily with systems or like operating systems code, is operating systems. I was very lucky that a week before my first phone interview, I learned what locks were, because the question was a LeetCode question with locks and threading. So that was super good timing, because if I didn't know it, I probably wouldn't have worked out. So I mean, besides that, a lot of like OSE questions, and then like knowing things. Also CompArc. CompArc was big too. There was on the online HackerRank, there was questions about like cache time and like on hit or misses. So yeah, it was interesting. I'm sure you know this. I grinded a lot on LeetCode last year to prepare for.
Could you give us when you say a lot? Can you give the audience an idea? Is that like 10? Is that 50? Like, what is a lot?
Like, definitely not 10. I between that and like reading chapters of Cracking the Coding interview that I felt weak. Like let's say I felt weak on a certain type of tree or like a data structure, I would read up on the chapter to make sure I knew how to use it and where I see it. And then probably, I mean, I started during the summer. I was honestly, I was super motivated the whole summer just to get out of South Bend, I guess. And so I guess kind of the opposite of Emery, where she wants to help South Bend a bit. I was just trying to get out. But so I was super motivated. I would probably, after work, I'd probably do 4 or 5 LeetCodes, and then as the semester came on, like 4 or 5 a day, and I just keep doing easies or mediums. I think for internships, if people are interested, I don't think many companies would ever ask a hard for an internship. I think the hardest question I ever had might be a LeetCode medium, and like besides that, yeah. So I did a lot of practice just outside of schoolwork, grinding LeetCodes, and then honestly having a ton of it, like having practice interviews was big too. Like going to, I don't know how ethical this necessarily is, but kind of having like practice companies that like sure, it's like, I guess people have safety schools, right, for colleges.
Yeah.
Where
that makes
I'd
sense.
interview with.
I mean, no, that's good. That's good advice to give people, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you might want to take an interview just to get it through your system, right? To see what the situation's like.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm planning on pursuing anything from like with the career fair this year, but I'm probably going to go just to experience talking to companies on Zoom, because I think it's going to be super awkward. But I think, I did a lot of practice interviews just to get in a place where like I I knew how to talk to these people, and I knew what to do. And
Now,
yeah.
could you give the audience a sort of idea of the timeline in which
Sure.
you know started interviewing and got the job offer?
Sure. Okay. For this specific, for Pure Storage.
Yeah.
Okay. I started interviewing. I'm not exactly sure when I applied. I can actually check when I first started getting emails, but I know for sure my deadline for the offer, which I ended up accepting, as you can probably tell, it was right before Thanksgiving break, so it was when I accepted the offer. So that's, I guess, at the end of this semester now. But I had, I remember it was the 23rd of September was when I first got the hacker ranks in. And so the late September was when this company first reached out to me for my application. And then from there was phone interviews between the week before, or
So
week
October
or two
was
before.
pretty intense.
Yeah, so October was a huge interview season. I was like flying around. So I had calls during fall break, and then after fall break, I had like the week after fall break, I flew to California. So it was all over that month.
So Emery, what was your timeline in terms of the interview and the final offer and all that?
Let's see. So the deadline for the application was actually in January, but my
So this is a
deadline.
later opportunity.
Yeah, my deadline for my service learning that was supposed to be in Uganda was in December, and so I asked them if I could submit an application earlier so that like I could choose, and they agreed to that. And so I submitted my application probably early December, and then interviewed like right after that, and then they said like yes, and then I declined them, and then when my service learning got canceled in March, I emailed the director of the intern program, and I was like, will you consider taking me back, please? And she immediately responded, well, she had to talk to some people, but she pretty much immediately responded like, yes, we'll take you.
Oh, that's actually very nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Gavin, so same question to you. You know, how did you prepare for this, and what sort of classes or educational experience did you find were useful for either getting the position or on the job?
Yeah, so I guess my main preparation was through LeetCode and programming challenges. So I guess that's answering both questions at once, kind of, with programming challenges, since it's a course. It definitely helped prepare me because my final round interview was nearly identical to a question I'd seen through programming challenges. So that was super nice.
Do you know which question that was?
Yeah, it was Night Styler.
Oh, okay. That's Challenge 8.
Yeah.
Challenge 8.
Oh, nice. They got it this year.
Yeah, they got it this year.
Nice. But yeah, I'd say LeetCode is probably like, if you don't need an in-person like preparation method, LeetCode is the way to go. You can just sit down and do them whenever you feel like it. I would probably do like maybe one or two like a week. So not at a crazy rate, but you know, just to try to stay fresh. But yeah, there were definitely some parts of the interview that I just couldn't prepare for. So like the second, there's an online assessment. The first part's just like take home coding questions. The second part is, or there's three parts. The second part is like a cognitive test. So it was like A is seated at this spot on the table, B is seated at this spot on the table, like who's next to F, that kind of thing. So it was, yeah, like some sort of reasoning. I forget what, deductive reasoning, I guess, is the kind of test. So that was a little odd.
We talked about that in PC too. Remember we did brain teasers one day?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. It was like consulting.
Just shamelessly plugging his own class.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and then the third part of it was like an online behavioral thing where like it was a simulated workplace and you had to like make decisions and like talk to your coworkers who were just recordings of people. It was really weird, but I guess that was their behavioral interview, sort of. So yeah, I guess that part of it hard to prepare for. But yeah, in general, I'd say PC and lead code helped me prepare to get the internship. But then once I was in the internship, I would probably say that systems and OS. I took OS last semester.
You're in the
with
Valley.
John McEachin. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Those two probably prepared me the most for my internship, just in terms of debugging, because
But those are like the two worst classes in the curriculum.
yeah, yeah, they're probably two of the hardest, I guess, right? But I mean, everyone who's taken them knows how much of a struggle it can be to debug those assignments. But I will say that experience definitely helps. Even with something as simple as setting up my development environment with my mentor at the beginning of my internship, there were things I was doing that I learned from systems, and he was like, "Oh, wow, I didn't realize like people would know that." So,
Well, so actually, that's one question I wanted to ask everybody is, one thing that we don't often talk about is that a lot of times computer science is a lot about relationships, right? And I'm wondering if in your internship, did you have a mentor or someone there to sort of guide you, and what was sort of the value of having someone that could advise you or guide you? Like, did you take advantage of that? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, I guess I can start. Yeah, I had a mentor. We met once a week. So he pretty much I think he had like 8 hours a week dedicated to like helping me. One of those hours was our meeting, but like I would just ping him or call him whenever I needed help or was stuck on something to get an answer or get a fix. It was like super valuable. I don't really know what I would have done without having a mentor to rely on. Super useful for like bouncing ideas off of them and just general debugging and planning. And I will say, like, since it was virtual, I worked with my mentor like more than anyone else on the team by far. I honestly interacted with the rest of my teammates like not that often, because they really didn't have any idea. Like, they just had a general idea what I was working on. I couldn't ask them specifics. So my mentor I lucked out and had a really good mentor, and he was very helpful in helping me get my project out there.
I think late in the spring there was a post in the Notre Dame subreddit, which was like, Notre Dame sucks so bad, they don't prepare us for anything. I feel like an imposter. Like, did you feel that on the job, Gavin? Like, did you feel like you weren't prepared? Like, did you feel like the kids from the other schools were like smoking you, or were you just like, I got this?
Yeah. So that's funny that you asked that, because I talked about this. There was one other intern on my team working on a different project with a different mentor, and we talked about this together. And like towards the end of the internship, and I told her like, yeah, like I thought I was like, very unprepared and like not representing like ND, I guess, as well as I could be. And then she was like, oh, like I felt the same way. Like, she was from Purdue. She was like talking about feeling the same way, the same sort of like imposter syndrome, I guess.
That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I still have small feelings of imposter syndrome even after completing the internship, but I kind of come to terms with that just being natural, I guess.
How about you, Sam? Do you want to talk a little about either mentorship or the feelings of imposter syndrome at work?
Sure, I can touch both, definitely. So I guess mentorship, I had a mentor and a manager, and I guess they kind of both acted as mentors, and except for they were both very, very busy people. I think it came out towards the end of the internship that my manager was like, I was supposed to went on paternity leave like a couple days before my internship started. So they found out about me a day before my internship started. So, and they were like going through like reorgs and a bunch of stuff. So they were just like, I think my manager was working like crazy hours daily, he was saying, just so him and the mentor too. So we had a good 10-minute stand-ups, and which honestly were super helpful. And whenever we like actually like super needed the mentor, like he was always like available on Slack, or like he gave us both of them gave us their phone numbers that are like we get a ton of pings on Slack. If we're not responding, text us or call us, and we'll respond to you. But oh my gosh, me and my partner talked so many times about how we were so confused about something, and our mentor would just like drop like a knowledge bomb on us, and it would like completely just like fix everything. But we'd have to like record the Zoom meetings so we'd rewatch it so we wouldn't lose it, because like he was very knowledgeable. I felt like I learned a ton from him about like different networking types, and like he'd always bring out the iPad on Zoom and like write out diagrams, and like he really made me understand like the whole, because I worked in like a part of the cloud service, but he made me like realize like the bigger part of it and like how it all like how it worked, which was nice. And then imposter syndrome wise, yes, I walked in the first bit feeling super. I like looked at the emails from all the other interns and like, oh gosh, these people are just like gonna be like insane. There's just like these Berkeley kids, these like CMU kids, like all these people. My partner was a master's student at like Illinois, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna smoke me, because he's a grad student, right? But honestly, as it went on, I kind of realized, like, I think it was during while we were setting up our development environments that I kind of realized we were both just like, I think everybody's just like this, like about the same level coming into this. Like I felt coming out of it, I still, like Gavin, I still have a little bit of it coming out of it, but like I feel like pretty much just like, all right, like me and my partner were about the same level. I felt better than him at some things. He was better than me at other things. I will say, I think he had a pretty good theoretical knowledge of things compared to me, but I feel like that comes maybe with being a grad student and some other things too. But yeah, I felt coming out of it about the same as Gavin, I think, imposter syndrome wise though.
It's interesting that you both, obviously, I don't want to blow smoke up your asses too much, but like you're obviously two really good students, right? Two of the best I have ever had, right? And you go into this with this imposter syndrome, and then you realize maybe you know it's the grass isn't always greener on the other side, you know. Emery, obviously you're probably one of the best students I ever had, for sure. Did you experience imposter syndrome, and do you want to talk about mentorship?
Yeah, so I think this is really interesting because I feel very, very strong imposter syndrome while I'm at school. But in both of my internships, so this summer, like I said, I worked for the Center for Civic Innovation, and last summer I worked for Medtronic as like a software intern. And I didn't feel any imposter syndrome in either of those internships. I think part of the reason for that is that I was alone. I was the only intern at Medtronic, like not at Medtronic, but at the site that I was at. I was the only intern. But I really felt like I fit in pretty well with the team while I was there. Yeah, so while I was at Medtronic, I had a manager, and we met weekly. And then I also had a mentor. We also met weekly. I don't feel like I got that much out of either of those, the mentor or the manager at Medtronic. It was kind of a weird experience, actually, because they were a very small team. They had been downsized like dramatically, so it was honestly kind of depressing. And then this summer we had like a project manager who met with us maybe every other day, and then we had a mentor for our team that we met with weekly, and they weren't mentorship like mentors or managers in the like personal or career development areas. They were really just like, we need these questions answered for our project because we have 7 weeks to get this done. So tell us where this data is.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, they helped guide like when we had questions, but I don't feel like I've gotten the like career mentorship in either of those internships.
Is that something you wanted, or is it just something you just now look back on it and say you lacked?
I mean, I did want it, and I even said that in like, I feel like normally for like corporate positions or like from my experience at Medtronic, they normally survey you and ask you like, how was the internship? Like, how can we do better? And so I would write on there like I was expecting like my mentor to like be better.
Wow. Okay. So
But,
not necessarily a positive experience.
yeah, which is why I didn't do that again.
All right. So I guess to sort of wrap this up, what's one piece of advice you would tell, a sophomore or a junior who, if they're still listening, God bless them, what would you tell them? What is something they should consider about to probably enter this process?
I think one thing that helped me feel comfortable with interviews was that whenever I do a project during school, I try to relate it either to something that I find interesting or to the real world. So, like, for example, I don't make like projects for like fun comp or logic design that are just like games because it's kind of hard to talk about those in interviews. If you have a project that like relates to something real, then you can feel like very confident going into an interview and talking about that, just because it's like more interesting. So like in your education, I would say do that. And then before interviews, I always like write down all of my projects and like what I learned from them. And I feel like that definitely helps with the behavioral part.
Gavin, what's one piece of advice you would give, new blitz?
Yeah, sorry, my audio was cutting out, so I might be repeating something Emery just said, but it sounded like you were talking about projects being super useful for talking about during interviews. I would definitely second that. Like, even if it's something you worked on in school, like a systems project or maybe an OS project. Employers love to hear the stuff that you're working on and the stuff that you're interested in. And it does make it, I think, a little bit better if it's something outside of school, because it demonstrates that you do have interest in what you've interest in what you're studying outside of the material you're studying, if that makes sense. So I would definitely say personal projects are big. Having like some sort of way to represent your projects, whether it be like a website or just your GitHub, is really useful too. But yeah, other than that, I guess there's no such thing as a bad experience. Any experience is a good experience. So definitely shoot your shot and apply to every company that you can.
Wait, Gavin,
yeah.
how many did you apply to?
I don't even want to say. I don't know. Maybe like upwards of like 30.
All right. No, I mean, I think it's good for people to get an idea.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging because people feel like they're shooting resumes into the void and they don't hear back from anything.
Yeah, I think I had a total of like 4 or 5 interviews, maybe like 5 or 6 interviews out of that. So yeah, it's definitely a crapshoot. It's like applying to college, I feel like, So, but yeah, don't be discouraged. Keep grinding LeetCode and get those personal projects going.
All right, Sam, how about
That's
you? What is the one piece of advice you would give? You gotta unmute yourself.
Yeah, grind LeetCode and applications like Gavin said. I think if you're looking for more proof that you can just keep sending them, I think I probably sent out like 70 or something like that. So yeah, don't be discouraged. It started to get a little overwhelming juggling all the processes, but one thing I did learn about this, always be confident. The company wants you as much as you want to work there. And if you make it to I guess there's not in person, if you make it past the hacker rank, you really are they like you you made it past their initial stages. Like you're at a pretty good place, I feel like there. And never be afraid to I guess not speak your mind, but if you need an extension or something from a company, never be afraid to ask for an extension on a deadline. I once, to give an anecdote, I wouldn't want to work at a company that wouldn't let me have an extra week to think about it over. I've turned down a couple offers because they didn't let me do it. So I would recommend just be confident. You are in a position of you might think, oh, I'm just an intern. I'm I have to take this or something, you kind of have a position of power because they need to fill these seats. And if they give you the offer, like they're not gonna just like take away the offer. So like be confident in yourself.
They invested time to select you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's a huge investment. And like also people, another thing, just last, a lot of companies, they like, especially like Capital One, they like Notre Dame because students are a little different, I guess, than normal like CS students. Projecting a little bit of like, I always just try to project confidence in my interviews and like try not to seem like the stereotypical
is this the origin of the Chad Sam meme?
Yeah, Chad Sam, dude. yeah, I was going to Chad Sam.
All right, Zeph, Mike, did you have any questions for our guests?
Not really.
Before we wrap this.
I think I had a couple. I think they were mostly got answered. So like, Sam, you mentioned you were ridiculously busy because you applied to 70 plus companies, right? So how did you balance your schoolwork with all of these applications and interviews and everything else that was going on?
Great question.
Okay, that's a good question, actually. Yeah, I would try to grind. I would, depending on like when the deadlines were, I would find a gap in my like school time, and I sometimes just cut away, like instead of like spending like sure, like you're busy with school, but you never like spend like, I would spend like 4 or 5 hours or like 3 or 4 hours watching like Trailer Park Boys or something. I'd maybe replace that and I'd go to the 3rd floor of Fitz and I'd just grind on hacker ranks and applications. So like companies send out, or like a couple companies send me hacker ranks. I'd wait till Sunday night and I just grind them all out or something. Like I do it in bursts. And then once job offers, like job interviews to go places started going, to be honest, that's where things just kind of fell apart. I think I might have had to ask for an extension or two from OS just because there was like a span of time where I was like driving to Madison.
I never give extensions, dude.
I was like driving to Madison, then flying to California, then going to McLean, Virginia, or like so like just like all in the span of like a week and a half, and like it catches up with you. So
did you find professors were accommodating to you?
Mostly, I think technically, I don't think for internships they have to be accommodating. I think the rules are only for full-time jobs, but I think there's like rules written, and I think they have to be accommodating for job interviews. But I found most of my professors were pretty understanding that like, yeah, this has to happen. So like, they always just wish me good luck, and like, I mean, you missed the lecture, so.
Zeph, you got any other questions?
I think that wraps up what I was thinking.
All right, so we're gonna do lightning round. So I'm gonna give you 2 options. You have to pick. All right, Emery, Sam, and Gavin. Don't even think about it. Just shout out the first thing you think about. Okay, you ready? AMD versus Intel.
AMD.
In what capacity?
Is this be like one or the other,
the only
or
part
like
of the question.
An adjective, like
you pick one.
First thing
you pick one.
Okay.
AMD.
I say AMD.
Emery.
Intel.
Oh wow.
Team
Okay.
Blue.
Okay. All right.
We're not judging. We're doing lightning rounds. Lightning round.
AMD versus Nvidia.
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 Interesting. Okay. North versus South.
North.
North.
CS versus CPEG.
CS.
CS.
Vim versus Emacs.
Vim. Is Iman in the chat right now?
Final question.
I banned him.
Final question. On campus or off campus?
Off campus.
Off campus.
The super spreaders are on campus.
True.
You heard it here first. The super spreaders are on campus.
Yo, vote Sam and
All right.
Iman.
So I guess this is time for us to take AK 5-minute break.
Sure.
5-minute break, and then we'll do a meme review if there are memes. Thanks for sticking around. If you have any questions, how could they contact you if they have questions? Emery, Sam, Gavin, what's your preferred way?
Slack.
I would be contacted through Slack or IRC. Slack, I'm S Vitali. IRC, I'm student 06 with a 9 at the end.
about you, Gavin? How can people reach out to you?
Definitely Slack. You can also send me a letter to keep the postal service alive. We need that to be around.
No, don't put up the postal system. We need that for votes.
Yeah. Send me a letter. Buy stamps. Get some money over to USPS. But yeah, seriously though, Slack is pretty much the best way to go. I don't think I'm comfortable giving my personal cell phone number to Foot Chicken. Not sure how I feel about that name and them having my personal number, but
Emery, how can people reach out to you?
That's Slack.
All right, Slack it is. All right, let's do like a couple minute break, and then we'll do whatever we're gonna do.
Memes.
I'm gonna get some water.
Yo, are we here for this, or do we like?
I'm gonna fix that. I gotta figure out
Do you
how.
want to be here for this, Sam?
Dude, I got to do Alex. I don't know.
Yeah, I got my
Sam,
Alex to
finish.
do.
You can leave.
Yeah,
you have to
I might
out
dip.
so we can play Warzone.
Okay.
I don't know if it's happening, dude.
Okay, well.
We'll see. I'm gonna get some sleep tonight.
That's not necessary.
Wow, Mike, you don't have the terminal application Bowie has for countdowns?
No, I don't.
My LD mug.
You have a logic design mug?
LD mug.
What's it say on it?
It says the day path matters, not the destination.
That's
Very
not true,
long.
though.
It's very fun.
That's not true though.
That's a good mug. Oh, you have one too, Emery? Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Are
were
you-
a gift from Dr. Joshi for the LDTAs.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
don't think I've ever
That's
gotten a
super cool.
gift from Professor Bowie.
I'm surprised there
point.
wasn't a.
Professor Bowie, can we get TA gifts like Professor Joshi does?
I don't care about my TAs. I don't care about students.
Okay, I'll quit.
TA strike. TA strike.
TA strike. Let him do all the grading himself.
Or
I
just like
do
the end of the semester.
anyways. I do
You know,
anyways.
I'm gonna unassign myself on every.
That's
PR
probably
right
why
now.
you don't give gifts, huh?
Dude, at the end of every semester, I end up doing most of the grading.
Sounds like you're complaining a lot.
No, I'm not. I'm just. It is what it is. It's fine.
It is what it is.
Are we gonna wait this whole counter?
That's up
Are there
to
even
you.
memes? Are there even
there's a
memes?
few.
There's a couple.
All right. Then I'll stay on.
I mean, we can, shoot the shit for another 3 minutes.
That's fine. I do. For the people that are here, how many viewers do we have?
We
Like 10?
have 17
There were, like-
right now. We were peaking
there-
at 25 earlier.
Oh, okay. For those of you who are still listening or watching or will watch later in the future, I do want to point out that Dr. Morrison is going to have a series of interviews with students Thursday nights, I believe around 5 or 6 o'clock. He will also walk through solutions to leak code. So if you're interested in types of preparation that Sam and Gavin mentioned, feel free to join Dr. Morrison, and he will interview students, things like that. It should be educational and fun. If you need yet another Notre Dame CSC podcast, that is our partner podcast. So
People are
feel free
asking
to-
when and where.
Yeah.
when,
It's on
when
Slack.
and where. It's on Slack. We linked it. It's in LinkedIn comments, and I linked it in the Programming Challenge course. But we
Yeah.
can also share it. I'll go ahead and I'll share it now in Lug, in case you missed the details.
We should also probably pin it
I
too.
pinned it in comments.
Oh, nice.
Did
Good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I pinned
Do you want to share it too? Do you want to share it to
it.
Lug?
Just to Lug, yeah.
Yeah. So, as you can see here, ideally, we teach you things and that's helpful to you. But as you sort of hear from our guest today, if you really want to shoot for, certain types of opportunities, you need to do some legwork yourself and do the extra preparation. And I think this is true at most universities. I would say. I think most places there's this expectation that you do some of the work outside of the classroom, and so I wouldn't be frustrated by that. I just know that is part of the process. And even though the Sixers got swept, we should trust the process. Sorry, Gavin. Trust the process. There's a reason.
Oh, by
for it.
God. Oh, and another part of that work is like practicing your networking and going to like the career fairs, because a big part of the interviews isn't necessarily like the grind. I mean, elite code's a huge part of it, but it's not the entire part of the interview. So you also have to be comfortable talking to, potential employers, and that can be really daunting at first as well.
Yeah, definitely second that. It's good to like know how to talk about yourself. That's a really good skill to learn. And it's really good to learn like how to talk about your projects. Like I will admit that I've talked about projects that like I'm not like 100% proud of, but I talked about like the cool parts of them and framed it in a light that was impressive. So
and you might flub your first couple interviews. They might be train wrecks.
Yeah, I've had interviews. I've had interviews where I like literally put my head down on my desk afterwards and just like exhaled and was like, "What the heck was that?"
Yeah.
Well, let me tell two stories real quick, as the counters counting out. So I went on a job interview. This is for my first professorship. In my first interview, I got asked at the school, so how important is math to computer science? And, me being the, straight shooter, I just tell it like it is. I'm like, it's not important at all, to be honest.
Oh.
Like, it's like, you don't really need calculus and stuff like that. That is the wrong answer, apparently. And another interview that I did at a school that shall not be named, I was asked a similar question. I was doing a research talk about my research, and they were asked like, "Oh, we like study like algorithms and like theory. Like, how important is that to doing research?" Again, me being the straight shooter, I'm like, it's not important. I never used it. Like, honestly, like I used to use whatever hash tables that we had in our collection. I didn't really think about algorithms or complexity.
Gotta know your audience.
You gotta know your audience.
Don't interview at a company without knowing a little bit about them.
So sometimes sometimes you don't want to be too real, I guess. All right. Do you want to pull us up, AKK?
For the memes or whatever.
Yeah, for the memes. So what do we got? I might not be able to comment on all of them.
So we got 4 of them. I don't know if you can see it, but
I can see it.
What are your thoughts? That's how I feel.
I'm not against iterative solutions. They're actually usually superior. There are certain problems where recursion makes more sense, though.
False.
I'm not against it. I'm not against iterative solutions. I usually go iterative rather than recursive, but recursion does make sense for certain contexts, and we'll talk about that in a few weeks in programming challenges.
And then there's this one. This one's from Reddit.
All right, let's see the next one here.
Yeah.
Yeesh. Would you recommend Windows 10 to a friend, AKK?
Oh. It's not a bad operating system.
Yeah, thanks for repping for us.
It's trying to give me a quiz right now. Windows Spotlight quiz. Hey.
Oh, Lord, no, stop.
Oh, I wish my operating system gave me quizzes.
That's quite a bit of Bing points you got there.
Oh, yeah, I used Bing for a while.
Oh my nice. Lord.
Ecuador.
Dude, you're one of like the 12% of people in the world.
I got it wrong.
I would just load like 30 pages on Bing from bookmarks to get them like sweet Bing points every day.
Yeah, I used to do that in high school a lot.
Yeah.
What do you use the Bing points for?
They can be redeemed for like gift cards and stuff like that.
Do I have to log in? Okay.
Interesting.
Redeem. I'm not even.
Like you what you were supposed to be doing during high school when you were.
Listen, that took no time. You just push open all tabs in in your folder.
Oh.
And bam, 30 Bing points, 120 Bing points or whatever.
Should I enter for this Xbox One Games bundle?
Yes.
Sounds
You
like
can
a
get
scam.
exactly in chat. You can get a $5 Amazon gift card with 5,000 Bing points.
Dude,
It's a
Minecraft.
deal.
All right. Let's see if I win.
Dude, I'm so excited if you win
Oh,
this.
I know. If I win it, I'll give it all
you just
away.
you just doxed yourself. You just doxed yourself. Now we know your email.
I don't care.
Now we know your order ID too.
Yeah, dude, you're screwed.
Yeah, you can.
Oh
you can
my gosh.
Hack my
You're
email
done
and
for.
get my Xbox One bundle before. Interesting. Didn't know Windows did quizzes in the start menu.
That's so exciting. I'm so sad Void doesn't do that.
I can't wait for Ubuntu to copy that with GNOME Shell.
Wait, where's
They're
that
not called
PR?
Candy Crush?
Into Void.
All right, let's go to the next meme here.
All right, it's a Hannibal Buress.
Oh, nice.
It looks pretty.
Little Eric Andre show.
What's your comment on this, Bowie?
I can't comment on COVID.
This is a big brain meme. It really makes you think hard, right?
I can't comment on COVID.
Can you comment
No
on
comment.
the thought process that you have to put into the meme?
No comment.
Yeah, okay.
Going with the caution. Okay.
Yeah.
Lame, but understandable.
This is also a COVID one, but it's not trying to criticize Notre Dame. So. I think that's all the memes we got.
I feel the meme generation is a little low this semester.
Dead channel.
Morale is low.
You know why you could make it better, Bowie. You just have to torture the students more. That has a direct correlation with better memes.
I'm choosing to be very respectful this semester.
Yeah. I heard some students were saying that like OS was pretty easy. Like they even finished the project today. It's due on Friday.
Oh.
It's due on Saturday, actually.
Yeah, it's due on Saturday.
Just wait till mid-semester compilers, says JMash.
It's not that the numbers are low. I just feel like the dankness is low. These are not dank. These are not like
we want hotter takes.
to nap. Yeah,
Hotter takes, but not
Corona
COVID.
Because that's an easy target, right? Go make fun.
But also, Bowie can't comment on Rona. So if you want the memes to be reviewed by Professor Bowie, it's got to be
DB
Rona
has a good
free.
point. DB doesn't want to get canceled. I think that is an issue for some students. They don't want to get canceled.
Who cares?
I'm just
If
saying.
you don't want to get canceled, send me your memes and I will post them without your
anonymously. Yeah, we'll send.
I wish
name.
there
it won't
was,
be anonymous. It'll have my name, but I'm willing.
I
to
wish
do that.
there was like a safer, more anonymous chat platform that people. Can
that's a great idea.
That
We
is a
should
good
host
idea.
one.
I'm just saying.
What would you call it?
It's on the internet, and we relay messages to each other, and we chat. Maybe Matrix. Or something.
Well, no, it's not Matrix anymore. Is it now like Element Chat or something stupid?
No, Matrix is the protocol, but the service is called Element.
That's stupid and unnecessarily confusing.
It is. Well, it's better than Riot.
Well, that's a problematic name, Boo. You can't say that.
You're right. I can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's
a
wrap for us.
I think we owe a huge thanks to our guests talking about their internships and sharing their experience and their insights.
Yeah.
So thank you to Emery, Sam, and Gavin. Let us know what you think of the podcast. If you're like, why are you guys even doing this? This is dumb. Or if you're like, oh, this is okay, I guess. It's a good waste of a Wednesday night. Let us know.
Trust
we do
me,
our
I'm
best.
wasting Wednesday.
Give us topics if you want. Give us rants.
We're not like the most social people. This is actually like the most I've interacted with people today. So, we do our best here. But
You're telling me people didn't want to approach you in the Sriracha shirt today, Bowie?
It was too spicy for them.
I guess.
It was too spicy. Dude, the great part is like for my class, I show up with like a polo, right?
Oh, nice.
And then after class is over, I switch to a t-shirt the rest of the day.
Do you wear the same pants?
I do. I just wear a pair of shorts. I still stand up during class, you know? I don't like get up.
Mhm.
Well, I guess for OS I do because I take a 5-minute break now and I walk back and forth.
You don't turn the camera off? That's
Show,
dangerous.
show off those calves.
Do we
from all
just
the
want to?
steps.
Do we just want to like shoot the shit for now, or just want to close it off?
I don't care.
I think
Like I kind of want to know. I kind of want to know like how you guys are feeling about the ND situation, or is that too spicy? Is that too like sriracha? We can't do
Why
that.
can't we talk about that?
I'm just asking you. Do you guys want to talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like I want to know. Like one, like do students want to be here? Like I think that's the big question: is do students actually want to be like either on campus or even like in town? And then two, do you feel safe? Do you feel like really stressed out? Like what are your thoughts about like what's going on?
Yeah.
I guess I can say that I do feel safe. I've been on campus a total of 3 times since I moved in. So haven't had to deal with like any on-campus beefs, but I think I feel safe because I trust like my friend group to be mindful of the situation and be thinking about their other friends when they're making decisions. But to answer your question about like do I want to be here, I definitely want to be here. But I feel like for a lot of people they will immediately say yes, I want to be here, but they're thinking of being here under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everyone says I want to be here and is thinking I want to be here eating in a tent on the South Quad.
Yeah. The quality of life. Oh.
I don't think we're gonna revert to the way it was, say, last fall, right? So, like,
No.
given what you know now, what the restrictions are, do you actually want to be here?
I guess, like, since I'm off campus as well, like, it doesn't really affect me too much. But from what I understand from talking to people who are on campus, the quality of life is kind of sucky. If I was living on campus, it'd be really hard to convince me to want to stay. But I have a pretty comfy apartment right now, so I don't really, you know, I'm an off-campus student anyway, so I don't get an opinion on things.
Well, Zeph, you're on campus too, right? So
I am on campus.
What's your feeling?
I definitely want to be here just because even if we had to go back to how it was, I'm hoping we go back to how it was at the beginning of the semester where we had some actual in-person classes. I definitely feel safe despite being in the dorm. I know like essentially the dorms are potential for bad things when you have so many students in a very small area. I don't know if that's just because I'm, lucky I'm in a single and relatively isolated from people, but I'd say that on-campus life, I don't think is quite as dire as a lot of people are saying it is. That just might be my bias because I have it nice. Personally, I'm pretty comfortable and not too unhappy. Hot take, I guess.
Well, so J Mash here says like it's better than being home, and
yeah,
he gets to see. They get to see a lot of more people. They're learning better than they would at home. Would you agree? Would you feel like? Do you guys feel like you are learning better just being on campus, even if it was Zoom classes? Like, Emery, what do you think?
Sorry, people are distracting me. It doesn't really make that much of a difference to me because I stay in the same place. This is my house where I live all the time. So, yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Are you guys just like?
I think I'd rather be going to in-person classes. I think I have a lot harder time, I think, staying engaged in the class when I have my computer in front of me and I can do whatever. I can play Warzone. I can do whatever I want. Like there's no penalty, like really, like right, like you could watch the class back later, but that's a pain. Like it's kind of a slippery. I'd much rather be on campus, like learning in my in-person classes. I think this semester's been kind of lame so far. Like not from like a oh that's so lame standpoint, just from like I like if it's gonna be like this next semester, I'm not sure if I'd want to come back.
You got support from DB here. He says reject modernity, return to tradition. I mean, how about you, Gavin? Are you like, I'd rather do in person, or are you fine with Zoom? Like, what's your feel on that?
I am definitely preferential to in-person classes. I don't know. This is going to probably be admitting too much, but I probably only like normally go to the classes that I'm interested in general, and like the other classes I'll like catch up on, I guess. This is like during normal circumstances. And now with like online stuff, I feel like there's just, like Sam said, I'm just even less engaged in some of those classes that I'm not like fully on, bought into, I guess is the word. I don't know what to say there, but you always got your classes every semester that you love and you dedicate a little less time to, is what I'm getting at. But I would definitely prefer in person, just because, yeah, having that opportunity to go into class and like even just like sitting next to someone and like asking them what was just said, like is something that is taken for granted, I guess.
So we're supposed to quote unquote maybe go back to in person in next week, right? Or is it 2 weeks? Another week. A week from today, right? Would that be your preference, or would you be okay with, say, Notre Dame says, you know what, we're going to continue doing online, but maybe certain classes, say like lab classes, have to be in person, but everything else is online. Would you be happy with that? If that meant that you can go to campus, walk around, because I know some of you are off campus. If they said, off-campus kids can now go back to campus if they wanted to, but all classes are online, would you be happy with that situation?
So I would be extremely, extremely frustrated, because in my personal opinion, that is what the university probably should have done from the get-go. We're talking like the middle of a freaking global pandemic right now. Like, I'm not so sure it makes a ton of sense to have a bunch of people in the demographic that is spreading coronavirus the most in the world right now, all in one place, all in these spots across the country. But that aside, I would definitely be very, very frustrated if they did that. But I ultimately think it would be a good thing in the long run. Like in terms of the pandemic, in terms of our learning, I don't think so. But in terms of this disease that has been plaguing us for 6 months, I think so. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think honestly, like looking towards myself, like I feel like it is like I'd rather be on campus in class for a bit more selfish reasons. When I realize, like, sure, if I have like older professors, it could be like, oh, it could be like every day if they slip up, they could catch coronavirus. It wouldn't just be like a bad cold for them or something like that. It'd be a lot worse. Like, I think I agree a lot with what Gavin said. Like, I mean, I'd much rather be in person for my classes, but like, I don't know. I think this fluctuation of like what we're doing is what's a little upsetting to me. Like, sure, like in my opinion, I'm not sure. We probably can't talk too much about this because the nature of the podcast. Yeah, I think it was pretty apparent that things were a little unprepared. I had some bad experiences with UHS, and I'm a little frustrated with everything right now. It seems like they're getting better and they're learning from it, but it seems like as a whole, I feel like this semester just feels like, if I were to like give a word, I'd say unprepared in a sense. But yeah.
How about you, Zeph? How do you feel?
I think I'm going to echo most of these sentiments. Personally, I find that last semester when we had to go back home for classes, I found it really hard to stay motivated in my coursework and then also keep a good like schedule. And I think even though right now I'm essentially doing the same thing, I'm going to class from my home, it's something about it still easier now. And I think that's because most of like I feel like contact is still better right now. And like I said, I would much prefer if somehow we could have it so, you know, the students who want to go in-person classes and the professors who want to teach in-person classes could meet up and have that happen. But I just know that I found like I don't really want to return to how it was last semester just because I found that to be really challenging personally.
You don't want to go back to the scorching heat.
I would rather not go back to the scorching heat. Yes.
Emery, how about you? What's your take on this? Would you be happy with mostly online courses for the rest of the semester?
Personally, I hate online courses. I find it very difficult to learn. I find it more intimidating to ask questions, and I'm not someone that's easily intimidated. Like, I ask questions.
Oh, you definitely ask questions.
I find Zoom like more intimidating. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really hate the Zoom classes, especially for like engineering courses, like our EE course, like my EE course and like my capstone course. Like, no.
Yeah, they're bad. I also TAing courses like logic design.
Oh
is
my
a lot
God.
harder. I want to teach people, and that's really challenging.
Somebody like, I like had to message someone like 7 times to like figure out what was wrong. When like normally they could like I could literally just walk over and be like, "That's your problem," you know.
I just love the questions where like there's like no context, so I'm constantly asking. I don't see your screen, so I don't know what you're asking me.
Somebody, I mean, maybe this person is listening, but they were like, how do you access this array? I'm like, what are you talking about? What array? What problem? Like, which element? Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like they ask questions like that. I'm like, I don't know what you're referring to. Like, there's like a lot of things, you know. AKK, what's your take on this? Would you be happy with online?
I wouldn't. It's not my first choice necessarily. Like, I don't think there's anyone who is like, yeah, let's, is gung ho about all online. I don't think there's anyone like that. I think everyone would love to.
I think there's a lot of faculty gung ho about that.
Really?
I believe
that.
That
doesn't surprise me.
I definitely believe that.
I don't know. I just like.
Would you hold it against a faculty member if they're like, you know what? I think it's safer for me to do this online.
No, I wouldn't hold that against them at all. But like, everyone wants to go back to normal. But to echo what Gavin said, like, can we do that during a global health pandemic? That's my take. I wouldn't want to do online necessarily, as much as I enjoy sitting in the same chair for 8 hours a day while I do my schoolwork and write code.
You gotta get a watch that forces you to get up and move, dude.
Mine, it would if it was alive. It's dead. But
isn't it an Apple Watch?
It is an Apple Watch.
Flex, dude. Chill.
I think so. I'm also in 2 like senior design courses this semester, and I would very much appreciate at least like having lab access. I think because if we're only online for the rest of the semester or for the rest of the year, that nixes almost half my classes essentially.
I would assume, again, I don't have any insider info here, but I would assume that they would eventually make accommodations for students who need access to labs and things like that. So I guess to me the big question is this worth it? Is it worth the $70K or whatever ridiculous amount of money you kids have to pay today? Is this
you could ask that question already when it's normal.
I was gonna say you could ask that
responses.
freshman year. Freshman year, you could ask that.
Well, I mean, it's because honestly, that's the.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Honestly, that's like the big question, though, right? Look, the reason why they're trying to do this, trying to make it work. The reason why they're trying to make this work is because of the money. And so, is it worth it?
Checks have cleared, King.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a fair question. Like, is it worth the money is not the question. It's which is better. Like, your options are stay in school or like take a gap year or whatever. So
talk about that. I know Sam has talked about it a little bit. Like, did you seriously consider that, Emery? Like, was that like a viable option? Would you have taken that? Knowing now what it's like now, would you go back like totally gap year?
I think it really depends on what year you are. Being a senior, I don't think so. Like, I want to be done. But maybe if I was a freshman, yeah, I would take a gap year.
Yeah.
What's your take?
not-
What's your take, Gavin?
Oh, Sam was about to say something. He can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like I kind of touched on earlier, I wasn't like necessarily talking gap years for me. I think, like, I just want to be done at this point. Like, I'm pretty. If it's like, I don't think I want this. I don't think it's worth it right now.
What could change and make it worth it? Do you think?
I'm not sure right now.
Vaccine.
Yeah.
Well,
Seriously.
that Notre Dame could control. Like that.
I don't
Get it
know.
from Russia.
I mean, sure. I think there's good efforts. Like, they obviously are trying right now, but it just doesn't feel like I mean, going back to in-person classes, it felt at least somewhat normal. But like, I don't know. If it's anything like this going forward, it's just kind of. It's just like it's weird. I mean, the only difference is I'm not at home. Yeah, sure. Like Zeppelin said, it's better, but yeah.
I mean, even for me, like when I was in the classroom, like I was really happy to be back in the classroom. But then like the reality was apparent the first day. Like, for instance, like I couldn't move away from the podium, otherwise the Zoomers can't hear me. And you guys know, like in class, like I like to move. Like I literally walk up to students and I sit next to them. I start talking to them, right? I can't do that anymore. And
you can't use people.
I can't use people, right? I usually do a lot of role playing and skits.
No more forking.
I can't do. No, I can't.
Fork kids.
I can't fork kids. You know, I can't kill them. I can't do anything like that. It's not. It's
Someone
not
please
cool.
snip that.
It's really frustrating to me, the situation, in the sense that, you know, usually this is the semester where I really get to know students. Like this is the semester where I really got to know Zephin and Emery and Sam. And I knew Mike for a while, and then Gavin, I don't think he didn't take OS with me. So, but like I really got to know the students because they were either in PC or in their operating systems, right? And like Emery was every day in the front of operating systems to the left, right? And she would ask questions like every 5 minutes, you know? And that's how I got to know her. Like that's how I got to really recognize her and see what an amazing person she is, you know? Now I don't get that. You know, I don't get, a student may ask me questions or they may say something in class, but because of the nature of Zoom, I don't have no idea who it is. Like Zoom doesn't switch over fast enough, so I don't know who's actually telling me stuff or asking me questions. And it's so annoying because I can't recognize any of the juniors. Honest to God, if the juniors walked into my office right now, I'd be like, I kind of know who you are.
First, but
no, it wouldn't be locked. I still don't lock my office. But I was like, I don't know who you are, right? Like I don't recognize you. And it's, to me, that's like the worst part of the situation. I don't know how to fix that. It just really sucks because I feel like, you know, we're missing a lot of what makes NDCSC really special, which to me has always been the connections you build with the professors and the students, not just with students themselves. I think that's very important. At least for me, like a great part of the value I get out of my job is that connection. And I feel like I'm actually very happy working from home, but I do feel like it's slowly slipping away. Like my love for this job, my love for the department, and the love for Notre Dame, like it's slowly just fading away because a large part of that was that human connection that is this is so weird for me to say because like I'm told like asocial, like I don't like people, like that is a huge part of what I found valuable of being a professor, and it's completely gone, and it totally sucks. And I don't think there's anything, as Gavin said, that we can realistically do in this situation. I was venting my frustration that it totally sucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that was an optimistic
happy
way
note.
to end
Yeah.
end this.
The monologue.
You should just clip this out. Just clip it out.
Nah, dude, this is staying.
Sorry, your camera's not focused, Bowie,
Yeah,
so no one will
you've been
recognize
out
you.
of
You can say
focus
anything right
the
now.
time.
Say
Yeah.
anything, and they won't know who you are.
For some reason,
Peanut Taxor
it gets
and the
out of
blur.
focus when I get up, but they don't know it was me. This could have been
That's what I'm
Siddharth.
saying. You can say whatever you want right now.
This could have
Like-
been Siddharth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Chat, you have
once
anything to add? Or y'all good?
Yeah, does chat have anything?
Still
Any
17
burning
people.
questions
Wow.
before we log off?
Why is chat still here?
Yeah, why do
Yeah,
we
why-
still have 20 concurrent viewers?
Yeah, why are they still here, man?
Yeah.
Y'all got Challenge 04 answers?
Oh, which one is it? Darius, which one
What
is
is
it?
Challenge 04?
It's
Is it the flower pot? Is it flower
no,
pot?
it's they don't do flower part.
They don't.
Oh,
do
that
flower
one was
pot?
brutal.
Flower
That was
pot?
literally the hardest one.
It's
for
the
me.
card
It was,
sorting.
yeah.
Like, it was so annoying.
Card sorting. It's the card sorting.
Card sorting.
Card sorting.
Did we have to do
Alright.
this?
Challenge 4.
I don't remember me
Easy.
doing this.
I
No,
definitely
wait,
did this.
Which one's the Sam problem?
Oh, yeah.
That's Challenge 03.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Hot Silicon Valley startup. Oh, you don't hyperlink anything for Sam. That kind of feels
Oh, no,
bad,
no
man.
picture. Not even a picture.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
even.
dude, I got robbed.
Even Bill got a picture.
I should have put your Chad picture on. I should have put your Chad picture on.
Flower pot was not
Joshi
easy,
says
Joshi.
flower pot was easy.
That was-
Joshi didn't even do the
I remember
problem, dude.
talking about that with Joshi and him being like, it's so easy.
Well, that was legitimately the hardest problem.
I remember that. He was
No, I
like,
don't
it's
think
just
that's
binary search.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's a constructive comment for him to say though. When somebody's
Maybe-
struggling on
maybe-
a question to say it's easy, I don't know, man.
Maybe it'll show up in the in-class contest, guys.
Oh,
I'll,
man.
I'll publicize my solutions for this one.
Dude, I'm getting PTSD looking at that picture.
But I'm gonna do it.
And this is
All
why
right.
you don't.
All right, I
get
gotta
CS
run.
points.
I gotta run. I
That's
got
late.
more steps. I got more steps to do according to my
Wow.
watch.
We gotta literally run. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You gonna go pace around on your porch?
yeah. No, I'm gonna do it upstairs inside the house.
Okay.
I don't wanna get eaten by mosquitoes. So
All right.
all right. Thanks everybody.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, we gotta do our thing.
What's
So
our
AKK,
sign off?
you're signing off.
I don't have one.
Okay,
Do it.
Zephin, go ahead.
May your clocks be high and your temps nice and frosty.
That's.
Your clock.
That is terrible. That's
Is that
awful.
supposed to be like some
That's-
And
sort
I'm
of
sticking
like?
with it.
You tried.
Just remember, folks,
That's
everybody eats
Yeah.
on the Lug Podcast.
Everybody eats.
Everybody
Oh,
eats.
man.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Yo, if anybody here lives off campus, I'd appreciate your vote next Monday.
Is that
All right.
so?
Yeah.
Tell me more about your platform, Sam.
No, I gotta go do some Alex.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, we're all.
Peace.
I'm leaving.
Thank you. Bye.